look out below.
You best look out below. You best look out below.
I want to apologize to those that I let down for letting some suckers play me.
Jimmy's a rat, man. Jimmy's a cold stone rat.
Henchmen and them were supposed to come through, and I guess they gun jammed, but we had God on that side.
When Jimmy Henchman crossed paths with 50 Cent, he didn't expect much. At first, Henchman saw 50 as just another rapper trying to act tough, but what came next proved otherwise.
To satisfy Rosemond. After the assault on his son, Rosemond decided that a member of G Unit had to die.
From quiet tension to federal indictments, things got deadly fast. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson wasn't acting. His past, his decisions, and his survival were all real. And by the time Henchman realized it, the damage was done. This is the story of the moment Jimmy Henchman found out who 50 Cent really was and how that moment quietly shifted power behind the scenes in the music industry. The moment Jimmy Henchman realized 50 Cent was more than image can be traced back to a series of escalating incidents that peaked in 2007. It began earlier, with growing tensions between G Unit and artists managed by Henchman, particularly The Game. However, the defining moment was the March 2007 assault on Henchman's teenage son, allegedly by G Unit member Tony Yayo and G Unit affiliate Lowell Lodi Mac Fletcher. The incident took place in Manhattan outside the offices of Violator Management.
To satisfy Rosemond. After the assault on his son, Rosemond decided that a member of G Unit had to die.
Jimmy Henchman's son got slapped up. And that set off a whole really bad set of events.
Right.
Which ultimately, ended up with Jimmy Henchman in prison.
According to reports, Yayo and Fletcher confronted the 14-year-old boy for wearing a Czar Entertainment hoodie, Henchman's company. Fletcher pleaded guilty to endangering the welfare of a child and served time. In retaliation, on September 27, 2009, Fletcher was murdered in the Bronx shortly after his release from prison. Federal prosecutors would later name Jimmy Henchman as the orchestrator of the murder-for-hire plot. Court documents and trial transcripts from Henchman's case confirm that he paid individuals to track down and execute Fletcher in response to the earlier assault. This wasn't just about image anymore. It was an act of violent retribution that connected Henchman directly to a murder, and in doing so, forced him to confront the reality that 50 Cent's circle, operations, and responses went beyond music industry norms. James J. Rosemond, better known in the music and street world as Jimmy Henchman, was born in Harlem, New York City in 1965 and raised primarily in Brooklyn. His name became widely known in both hip-hop and law enforcement circles due to his dual reputation, one as a successful entertainment mogul and the other as the alleged leader of a powerful criminal enterprise.
Jimmy Henchman's son got slapped up. And that set off a whole really bad set of events.
Right.
Which ultimately, ended up with Jimmy Henchman in prison.
To satisfy Rosemond. After the assault on his son, Rosemond decided that a member of G Unit had to die.
50 Cent never forgot. And when Henchman's downfall became public, he didn't miss the opportunity to strike back. This time, not with bullets, but with posts. Across social media platforms, 50 shared screenshots of federal court documents highlighting Henchman's convictions, especially his drug empire, money laundering charges, and multiple life sentences. He reposted articles labeling Henchman as a government informant, referencing the alleged cooperation Rosemond gave during earlier investigations, an allegation Henchman denied, but that circulated widely during his trials. And it wasn't new. 50 had been vocal about Henchman for years. Back in 2012, on the Lost Tape mixtape, he aimed lyrical jabs at Jimmy's street credibility, implying duplicity and weakness behind the tough exterior. In one track, he rapped, "I seen the paperwork, Jimmy, it's a rap now. You talking loyalty, but you're breaking down somehow." He also made pointed remarks in interviews, characterizing Henchman as a manipulator who used the industry as a smokescreen for organized crime. The music mogul facade, in 50's view, was just a disguise. So when the prison video of Henchman lamenting surfaced, 50 didn't hold back. To him, it wasn't sadness. It was karma. A man who once ordered hits and built a multi-million-dollar narcotics empire had been reduced to pleading for freedom on camera. The very public emotion was, in 50's eyes, a collapse of the gangster image Henchman had carefully curated. More than mockery, it was a digital eulogy, a final chapter in a feud that had cost lives, careers, and reputations. What stood out most wasn't the words, but the delivery. No hashtags, no drawn-out captions, just clipped, biting sarcasm that let everyone know 50 Cent wasn't here to forgive, forget, or feel sorry. For him, justice, however delayed, had been served. before his name became synonymous with federal indictments, street warfare, and life sentences, James Jimmy Henchman Rosemond was regarded as a legitimate force in the music industry. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, he had transformed himself from a troubled youth with a criminal past into a respected music executive, praised by many for his business acumen and industry connections. Rosemond's company, Czar Entertainment, wasn't just another artist management firm, it was a power hub. He played a key role in managing the careers of The Game, Sean Kingston, Gucci Mane, Brandy, Salt and Pepa, and even worked with Akon at one point. His clients were chart toppers, and his name held weight in boardroom negotiations and label meetings.
That I would become a music czar when you have great artists like Game.
He was often seen at major industry events like the BET Awards, MTV red carpets, and record release parties, posing alongside executives, athletes, and fellow music moguls. Journalists once described him as a bridge between hip-hop and Hollywood, with the charisma and confidence of someone who could move between street culture and corporate America seamlessly. Jimmy Henchman cultivated the image of a man who had left the streets behind and found a new path in music. He presented himself as a deal-maker, someone who could squash rap beefs, broker label agreements, and guide artists toward mainstream success. His ability to maneuver behind the scenes earned him praise, particularly when he helped broker the reconciliation between The Game and Interscope, following The Game's fallout with 50 Cent and G-Unit. In interviews, Rosemond often spoke like a man who understood the business of music, deeply talking about intellectual property, publishing rights, and ownership, while also using the language of the streets. It made him relatable to both artists and executives. At one point, he was in talks to launch a record label and expand into film and television development. But while Rosemond's image in the public eye was that of a buttoned-up businessman, law enforcement was building a very different narrative. According to federal prosecutors, the success of Czar Entertainment was allegedly propped up by an elaborate criminal enterprise, including drug money laundering, and intimidation tactics that blurred the lines between business and organized crime. Investigators later accused him of using his music business as a front, laundering proceeds from drug sales, transporting kilos of coke in road cases meant for musical equipment, and leveraging his influence in the industry to shield illegal activity. By the time the public caught wind of these accusations, the duality of Jimmy Henchman's life had become undeniable. To fans and artists, he was a mentor and mogul. To federal agents and prosecutors, he was a high-level drug operating under the cover of hip-hop. As Jimmy Henchman climbed the ranks of the music industry, building relationships with label executives, celebrities, and artists, federal agents claim he was living a double life, one of glitz and deals by day, and drug and power moves by night.
Time to go.